Erica Uncut.
Bitch! You're gonna get the ghetto black bitch. It's gonna punk you all the time. Okay, too black. Her nose looks like a gorilla nose. And so, dark-skinned girls never seem to like me. Do you let black people in your bar often? I really feel bad. I'm so sorry.
Colorism is a form of discrimination or prejudice based on the darker skin tones within the same racial or ethnic group. It involves the ideology that lighter skin tones are more desirable or superior to darker skin tones, and that one's value is based on proximity to whiteness. Colorism intersects with racism, as both forms of discrimination are rooted in hierarchies based on skin color. Racial and ethnic minorities, particularly those with darker skin tones, are often subjected to both colorism and racism, leading to compounding effects of systemic disadvantages. Colorism has deep historical roots, including its association with slavery. Enslaved people with lighter skin tones were often treated more favorably than those with darker skin, frequently as a result of mixed race parentage or proximity to European lineage. They occasionally received less physically taxing assignments, had better access to materials and opportunities, and occasionally even received privileges like working in the plantation house or receiving an education. The basis for this disparate treatment was the idea that lighter complexion was a sign of closeness to whiteness and so had greater value within the system of slavery. Darker skin tones, on the other hand, were associated with harder working circumstances. They frequently endured harsher forms of punishment, were subjected to higher degrees of exploitation, and were seen as being at the bottom of the social hierarchy within the community of enslaved people. There are several groups across the world that deal with colorism. Colorism is most prevalent in both Asian and Black communities, as the skin bleaching industry has been growing fast. I also want to mention that colorism does not only affect one's perceived attractiveness or preference, as when it's mostly spoken about, it's mainly tied to beauty standards, but colorism also affects incarceration rates, employment, opportunities, social bias, stereotypes, media representation, hate crimes, mental health, education, and internalized racism. In today's video, we're going to speak about colorism in Hollywood, acting, and music. Let's get into it. Back in the Trap Girl era, September of 2018, American drill rapper Asian Doll mentioned the effect of colorism on her career. In an interview with fellow musician Princess Nokia, Nokia mentioned her light-skin privilege in the industry and applauded Asian Doll for her hard work, knowing she would have to go twice as hard.
Love me some Asian Doll. Love her. You know why? See her as the future. Right. I see her, I think she stands out because she knows where she come from and she's really defining herself as a woman. I see her growing. And I see her being so eloquent in her growth, and I see she tries really hard to fight for her place as a Black woman, and I respect that. I have to, because as a privileged woman in this business, I have to commend the women that...
Asian responded to the interview saying, "For Princess Nokia to know lighter skin shades are privileged in this industry, and for her to speak on it brought real tears to my eyes. I'm so young, making all type of mistakes, but I use my platform to inspire girls just like me. If there's nobody in the industry in the position to help us, who gonna help us? Who gonna care about our feelings? Who gonna have our back? This young lady's spirit is so beautiful. I wonder if she's human. I'd rather not complain about getting expected. I just rather do me and grow as a woman. I promise all my life I will always use my platform to really help and uplift these girls. They need me, they need us, they need somebody. You can say what you want about me, but every day, who really knows me will always speak very highly of me, because I'm the realest bitch walking. Up. Thank you, Princess Nokia. I love you so much." Now, if you know, Asian herself used to make colorist tweets, and many debate about her stage name. Seeing as this might have came from a place of insecurity and internalized self-hate, fans thought her statement was coming from a place of growth, but apparently it made her fellow Trap Girl rappers angry. Stunna Girl, whom you may know from Baddies West, went on to basically say that colorism doesn't exist, and that it's not true that if you're darker skinned that you have to work twice as hard, and if you feel that way, you just have low self-esteem and you're bitter. Cold Killa agreed with her statement, and Cash Doll even agreed and said that she didn't believe in colorism, but later revoked her statement less than a year later, saying, "It's crazy. I remember saying I haven't witnessed colorism just yet in the industry. Well, it happened. This guy don't even want to clear this beat because of my skin tone, or unless I get another woman on the hook that's a lighter complexion." Just wanted to share that with you guys. At the time of Asian's statement, her and Cash Doll were beefing mainly about the name Doll, so she was most likely just saying that to spite her. Either way, it was dumb, but her and Asian are cool now. Cash Doll remains positive that she'll get the credit she deserves soon, as she responded to a fan on Twitter, further explaining the effects of colorism with, "It's all timing, love." Now, going back to Asian's original statement, Cuban Doll, Asian Doll's longtime friend of me, made a post saying, "As an unprivileged female, I work hard for everything and never get anything. God is on my side, and honestly, that's how I've been making it. People always want to tell your story for you, but they not in your shoes. People always want to discredit work and throw shade. But I'ma let the time tell and the music speak. Don't be fooled by your insecurities. Now, Cuban has been called out by many people for being colorist multiple times. Her and Sunna Girl both put rapper Rocky Bad in a cage, which I can make a whole video on if y'all want. But her ex-bestie Suki Hana even backed up Asian's statement about colorism in the industry and called Cuban out for it as well, just as Cash Doll did. Bally Baby even hopped in and somewhat seemed to agree with Asian, but brought up body type discrimination in the rap scene, which is a completely different conversation. So I feel like I don't really have to say much for this, just watch these clips of this interview. But Mona Leo is an American rapper on the rise, and she recently just gave birth to a baby boy with her boyfriend, fellow rapper Stunner for Vegas. Megan is a reality TV star from Bad Girls Club Season 9. If you want more information on her for some reason, watch my Baby Yell video. But yeah, just watch this foolishness.
A very important question, because I be battling people with this question all the time. Okay. Do you believe in colorism, and do you feel like it's easier as a female rapper to like make it big when you're like of a lighter complexion?
Believe in colorism. Colorism is very real. It's a very real thing, for sure. And it definitely is easier for, not to take away from anybody who is a light-skinned rapper, but it's definitely easier for a woman with a lighter complexion to blow up quicker than a dark-skinned woman, for sure.
But like, why do you feel like that? Because like, I be getting into it with people, right? I used to get made fun of at school because I wasn't black enough. Bitches used to try to cut my hair. Like, people be thinking that like light-skinned girls don't go through colorism. We go through colorism just, I don't know if it's like as bad as like brown-skinned girls.
It's not colorism. It's not colorism. If you're light-skinned, it's not colorism.
So what is it called?
If people was picking with you, then that's like, but it's not colorism. Like, colorism is discrimination against darker skinned, like darker complected people.
You're basically talking about reverse.
Well, reverse colorism then. Because they used to be like, you ain't even black for real. You're white. Go over there with the white girls. And I'm just like, bitch.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I am black actually.
Yeah, that's an interesting experience.
Yeah.
I've heard people who like mixed people talk about experience.
But I'm not even, this is the thing, I'm not even mixed. I got no white parents.
But I've heard people like lighter skinned people like say stuff like that. I wouldn't say it's reverse colorism. Like, I don't think that that's a thing, but I understand.
I'm trying to describe the moment that you're having, and that's kind of like what you're saying. But also, it's like that thing, like, oh, you're pretty to be a dark skin.
Yeah, but we also get, oh, you're pretty to be a black. Like, I've had white people and others.
But that's racism.
Yeah, that's racism.
Right.
But like, they'd be like, you're pretty to be a black. I've had black girls be like, you're pretty. Are you mixed? Like that? Are you mixed? You have to be mixed.
Right.
I thought you was
actually
mixed.
sad.
You mixed. Why gotta be mixed?
Right.
Yeah, that thought process is actually sad.
Yeah.
That I would have to be mixed to be.
Oh wait,
but I mean, just to play devil's advocate, like we, like black, especially little black girls in general, we've been indoctrinated to think that darker skin, especially like just the way that I grew up, I'm like darker skinned people experience a completely different experience than people who are light skinned, and that is just like the bottom line, and that is where the issue of colorism comes in for sure. But just little girls have always been like just growing up, my mom, and it's not my mom's fault either, but just growing up, my mom like perming my hair just so that it wouldn't be super, because I have 4C, super kinky hair, and it's like it was difficult for her to manage, so she would perm my hair so it would be easier for her to style it. But that was something that a lot of young black girls had to experience, and we were told that our hair was not beautiful, that our skin was not beautiful, and we watched people who were lighter skinned or mixed people get a different treatment than brown skin and especially dark skinned children. So that's why I feel like it, not to take away from like your experience, because that's still valid, and what you went through is still something that was traumatizing for you for sure, but it's not the same thing as like the colorism that darker skinned women.
Can you explain it in like the rap, like in the rap world, like from the original question? Like, why do you feel that it's easier for a lighter skinned like a Lotto to blow up versus a Cash Doll?
It's just, I mean, so just to take it all the way back, like when our ancestors were slaves, the darker skinned slaves were in the field. They were outside. They were doing hard labor, and the lighter skinned people were
in the house.
And that is like, it just trickled down, and it just kind of is the same concept. Just
Different time.
But can I
it's
make
a different
point,
time.
though? Of course. I feel like it's only with the women though, because I feel like
it's specifically with women. For
right.
sure. That's why I said it's different.
The darker skinned guy, I feel like it's harder to be a light skinned rapper versus a dark skinned rapper. Because I feel like the light skinned rappers, nobody really take you serious.
That's like a cultural. That's like a cultural thing. Like that's the cultural thing that we're doing like recently. But as far as like just colorism in general, and specifically like colorism amongst black women specifically, that's something that dates back far beyond. Like the shit with like being a light skinned male rapper and a dark skinned male rapper, that's some cultural shit, and that's some shit that just recently, or at least I can only speak from my personal experience. I remember like this was like 2011, 2012 when Drake was like making like the softer rap music. I remember that being a conversation like, oh, he's a light-skinned rapper. Right. I remember that starting that conversation around that time. But as far as like what women are experiencing, I think it is. I'm not gonna lie, it's easier for a light-skinned woman to blow up as a rapper, to navigate through the music industry. You notice a pattern, like there could be an influx of light-skinned rappers, and they wouldn't necessarily have to be as talented lyrically or put as much effort in. Women who are darker than me who are rappers, right, and that are really fucking talented, I've seen them have to work 110 times harder and lyrically be more skilled lyrically, have better visuals, and you know what I'm talking about.
I do. Fill me in.
No.
So after that, fans took to Twitter to speak on the interview. Many were rightfully not happy with the interviewer Megan. Mind you, Megan has made colorist comments on her season of Bad Girls Club and is often very passive-aggressive in her interviews, which is why a lot of people didn't have the patience with her. Not that it'd be deserved in the first place.
While I'm looking at the new girl's picture, I'm analyzing her weave and her dress and her shoes, and I'm like, ugh, she's black. I don't think so.
Do you think she's prettier than you?
No, but I just wanted to know y'all's opinion.
After the interview aired, viewers weren't only coming for Megan, some people also came after Mona Leo. Mona Leo received backlash from people who don't know the depths, history, and literal definition of colorism. Another reality TV star, Masika Kalisha, who insists reverse colorism exists, which it does not, responded to Mona Leo's tweet saying, "Reverse colorism 100% exists. Saying that it does not exist is actually proof that it does." And again, Masika has also made previous colorist comments calling dark-skinned women insecure black beast. Someone picking on you because you're lighter than them is not colorism. That would be bullying. So Ice Spice was recently announced by Billboard as the People's Princess of Rap, and many people took to Twitter to express how they believe Flo Milli was deserving of the title and how colorism has a play in Ice's career. Flo Milli then went on to say, "I wish y'all would stop with this tired-ass narrative y'all love to push about my career. I'm doing great. I went from being broke to traveling the world with my talent, and I'm only 23. Please relax, and stop mentioning me while trying to degrade another artist. It's weird." Notice how the tweet that had the most likes was the one in defense of Ice Spice and not the one in defense of Flo's career. Anyways, this entire situation is somewhat of a mirror to the Keke Palmer and Zendaya colorism call-out situation back in July of 2022, when a tweet went viral and Keke responded, "A great example of colorism is to believe I can be compared to anyone. I'm the youngest talk show host ever, the first black woman to star in their own show on Nickelodeon, and the youngest and first black Cinderella on Broadway. I'm an incomparable talent. Baby, this is Keke Palmer. I've been a leading lady since I was 11 years old. I have over 100 credits, and currently starring in an original screenplay that's the #1 film at the box office. #Nope. I've had a blessed career thus far. I couldn't ask for more, but God continues to surprise me." Now, I 100% see where both Flo and Keke are coming from, especially in their frustration. To be happy and content in your career and to see people constantly telling you should be better or victimizing you instead of supporting you can be very annoying and somewhat performative when they say they deserve this and that, but only to pit them against their counterparts. Mona Leo has spoke on this as well, saying, "It's okay to support darker-skinned rappers without comparing them to other rappers. Like, we can simply exist as talented artists. I don't know how to articulate it, but it feels weird, only being brought up in comparison to someone else. else. Sometimes it can feel as if people are disingenuous with their approach, and dark-skinned artists are only being used as a talking point and can't just trend and exist within their own volition. Cash Doll herself said she refuses to believe that her skin tone is the reason she's not as successful as her counterparts. Everyone should know colorism exists and that it can have effects on their careers, especially in the entertainment industry. But the reason I think some artists refuse to indulge in the topic is because they don't want to be used as a talking point or want the negative attention that unfortunately comes with acknowledging it. But I also do believe it may be hard for people to see how colorism affects them as they settle for receiving the bare minimum in comparison to their lighter or white counterparts. To continue, I don't think there's anything wrong with genuine fans saying their artist deserves more fame, connections, opportunities, and more, as long as the actions are being put behind the words and they're not only using their name for a viral tweet or constantly comparing them. Now, this is not to talk down on anyone's career. Every single person I've spoken about has worked hard and gained lots of success and reached beyond their personal goals in their separate careers and deserves as such. It's a great thing that Zendaya and Princess Nokia and many more entertainers and people in different fields continue to use their platforms and speak on the privilege that they receive as lighter-skinned people, biracial people, white people, and more, as no matter what, discrimination does exist. It's also good to keep in mind that colorism is not always blatant. It can be covert and implicit like racism, even the way streaming services and media apps push more visibility on certain accounts than others. So what do y'all think? Let me know in the comment section, and remember to support these artists.
You look like a black Barbie.
Darling, I am a black Barbie doll.
And she put full lashes over there.